Hey guys, Wildman TX here. Just wanted to show you some of my most recent farming raids because along with any game like DomiNations or Clash of Clans, farming, grinding out that food and gold is going to be very important. So I just want to show you some successful raids and strategy that you can use. You can see here I'm in Enlightenment Age going up against an Industrial Age base. But it does have some of the traps open, which means it hasn't been reset, kind of a dead base. But the thing when you're looking at this base here is you don't look at where the gold and food is. You look at the easiest place to start. You walk into it thinking, I'm going to take this base 100%. So rather than trying to hit up here where you think your gold and your food might be, you hit at the easiest place. And this particular base, its opening was down here in this bottom right-hand part of the screen. Now this particular composition is the same composition I use for every single raid, whether it be farming or World War. And you can look for my World War tax if you want to look at the link in the top right-hand corner of the screen. But you can see here I've got the 26 Praetorian Fusiliers. That's the meat shield that kind of gets things started. Then you get behind that your 45 or 46 musketeers. That's what keeps everything alive. That keeps the enemy troops off your cannons. Your 4 cannons do your main damage, and then your supply wagons are trying to keep everyone alive. But you notice I'm able to do this. I'm not really going for that 5th star. If I get it, that's great, but I started so far away, and it was an Industrial Age base. I'm not too worried about missing that 5th star. You notice I'm not doing much redirecting on this particular raid because they've spread out a little bit. They're in 3 main groups, and that's perfectly fine. And you just walk into it knowing you're going to get every single structure. So it doesn't matter if you start on the opposite side of the screen. You have enough time to get things going to where you can get everything. And the biggest problem is going to be your mortars and your redoubts because those do splash damage. So if anything, that's what you're going to want to focus in on. And as you can see here, we got 4 stars. But the biggest key is to be able to do it without losing. Look at what I lost. I lost no supply wagons. I lost no cannons. I just lost my wall sapper, 10 musketeers, and almost all of my Praetorian Fusiliers. But you know that's going to happen. Take a look at that loot. That's some seriously good loot. Let me show you another raid. Same exact composition. The reason I use the same composition is because I want those 4 stars, 5 stars, because I want those diamonds. And I need those diamonds for my mercenary camps. But you notice on all of these raids, I'm not using any generals, I'm not using any tactics, and I'm not using any Alliance Gate or mercenary troops. I am just using my basic army. Now you notice I'm starting up here on the top left, doing the same thing here. There's that redoubt that's going to cause some initial problems and that mortar right there. But that's my open area right there. Besides those two, I'm going to be able to slide right through this. And so I just kind of spread everything out on a line with the Praetorian Fusiliers first, musketeers behind them, then the cannons and the supply wagons. And everything kind of just works together. I don't really like to bring any heavy cavalry or any units that like to target the defensive structures just because, number one, they have pretty low attack and they are susceptible to any cannons or ballista towers. They get rocked pretty easily. But more importantly, they don't stay with the group. They just run off from defensive structure to defensive structure. You see I'm able to get that quick victory here. And they don't stay with the musketeers that are trying to keep the enemy troops off them. And if they end up dragging a supply cart with them or supply wagon with them, then that supply wagon is easily going to get killed as it tries to keep up with these heavy infantry units trying to take down some of these defensive towers. I'd rather just the cannons and the Praetorian Fusiliers for the beginning, but they die off. And then at the end, I like to just have my cannons and my musketeers take care of everything. So you see I am redirecting here, but really it's just cleanup stage. We're about done. I am going to be able to get that 5th star, so that's a guaranteed diamond. And you see what I lost? I did lose 2 cannons, but I didn't lose any supply wagons. I only lost 2 out of 4, and I lost all my Praetorian Fusiliers and most of my musketeers. But look at this loot right here, 284,000 food. And so this has a full, I've got all my troops upgraded So this has a full cost of about 90,000 food. So if I can get out of there with just losing my my Praetorian Fusiliers and my Musketeers, then I'm happy. Once I start losing supply wagons and cannons, that's when it's not so great. Here's the last one I'll show you. The key is you want to farm, you want to get practice. Look at this loot right up there, 339,000 gold. And you notice I'm starting way up here at the top because they put all of their non-military units up there. I'm able to get all of my troops down without facing any kind of opposition. And we are just going to blow right through this base here. Let me zoom in a little bit for you. So I have all my troops down, and it just kind of makes this line all spread out. They will start clumping up later. I got that quick victory, so I will be able to get that 5th star. But you don't necessarily need them all to clump up at the beginning. You want to avoid using your redirect or your rally feature, just because that clumps them up and that makes them really susceptible to just 1 or 2 mortar shots. Or for some strange reason, you've got some troops behind a wall, and then you redirect, and then suddenly they're banging on the wall trying to get out, because if you haven't noticed yet, the AI on some of these troops are pretty stupid, and rather than going through an opening that's right next to them, they will sit and try to hit a wall, and then that troop is effectively useless. And so we're just kind of going around. It's that mortar I was worried about, and then I've just got one more readout right there before we get into our last unit right there. Once again, I'm not using any tactics, I'm not using any generals, not using any alliance gates or mercenary troops. That's the key, is I don't want to use all of that. I save all of that for my World War attacks. And then we're just going to get through here. Just get a little hairy right there with those 2 troops. That's pretty well guarded. So I'm going to lose a few. But once we get out there, that mortar is done. It does kind of seem like it's still there, but that's just a glitch on the game system itself. But I am able to get all of these troops here. These guys are stuck behind a wall, but I'm not too concerned about it because I'm able to get that 5th star. And you see, once again, I lost 2 cannons, but I didn't lose any of my supply wagons, and I lost most of my other troops. But look what I gained. Quite a lot of golds and trade goods, and I got that guaranteed diamond. So hopefully this will help you when you guys are farming in DomiNations as an Enlightenment Age town center.